Both Indian indices were pretty much flat in trade yesterday, and let's have a quick look at how global indices shaped up on Monday and how Asian indices have started off on Tuesday to give us some cue as to how Indian indices will perform on this Tuesday. The Dow and the S&P 500 both closed at record highs, and pretty much all global indices were in the green in trade on Monday. Obviously, as I said, the Dow and the S&P 500 closed at record highs, largely led by an earnings upgrade. The earnings season is upon us, and companies have declared much better than expected earnings. In fact, 84% of the 117 S&P 500 companies that have declared results have declared better results than analyst expectations. That's a huge positive for US as well as global indices. Tesla in specific rallied 12% to hit a market capitalization of $1 trillion US dollars. No mean feat, that one. The Dow gained around a fifth of a percent in trade. The S&P 500 was up almost 0.5% in trade yesterday, while the Nasdaq was 0.9% higher and is now around a percent from its all-time record high. So all indices have now inched into a zone which they haven't seen in the past. Moving on to Europe. European indices gained as well as investors continued to monitor strong corporate earnings in the US. Little bit of positive sentiment on the back of better earnings posted by HSBC, seeing a 75% jump in profit, and good news from Evergrande, who I have said to have resumed work on over 10 projects, both of which leading to some more positive sentiment over and above the good corporate earnings declared in the US. So European indices were also in the green. However, investors seem to have an eye also on inflation as well as how COVID is progressing. And that means the DAX closed around 1/3% higher, the FTSE was up 1/4%, and the pan-European stock 600 index was absolutely flat, up 7 basis points in trade on Monday. Moving on to how Asian indices have shaped up this Tuesday morning. Asian indices are in the green pretty much. The Nikkei is up almost 1 2/3%, and in fact 1 3/4% as we speak. The Shanghai is up around 1/5%. The ASX 200 up around 10 basis points, and the Kospi up 2/3% in early trade today. The Hang Seng being the only index which had gone up briefly but has now tapered off, down around 1/5% in trade. Moving on to how the SGX Nifty is looking. The SGX Nifty is up around 40 basis points in early trade today as we speak. So good positive sentiment across the board. Mind you, the SGX Nifty futures were up around 4 basis points in trade yesterday. Moving on to commodities, the London Metal Index rose around 1.2% in trade yesterday, with aluminium and copper both rising. However, iron ore, which rose a good solid 4.5% in trade on Friday, was down around 0.5% on Monday. Oil continues to be on the boil at around $83.78 a barrel as we speak, with Brent breaching the $86 a barrel mark. US crude is currently at a 7-year high. So definitely some amount of a story playing out in oil. Gold continues to gain on lower US bond yields. However, it's a very tempered gain that gold is making. It's at around $1,800 an ounce as we speak. The dollar index rose around 18 basis points in trade yesterday and has risen a further 8 basis points in trade today. So 1/5% yesterday, around 1/10% in early trade today. The US 10-year treasury yields stand at 1.643% in early trade today, while the Bitcoin is at $63,000 US. That's a round up of all global markets and commodities from our side on this Tuesday morning.